And here's the thing, unless we do the work that I do with clients, the work that we do on ourselves, we keep choosing similar partners even when we think that we don't. And what I mean by that too is we actually don't change anything about us. So we're bringing our issues to the table every time.
Hi everyone, welcome here in GoAllIn show. My name is Stant. I'm your host, and today I'm super excited. And I say it every time that I say this, I'm super excited. But I am super excited for the conversation and a special guest that I will bring in to the show today. Just listen and wait and watch the whole conversation. This is going to be super awesome, and it's going to impact and probably change your life so much. Welcome, Tiffany Reneker here. Thank you so much, Tiffany.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
You're kidding? I'm excited, and let's go. Let's start a conversation.
Let's do it.
So you are helping women, get back up, finding joy, finding herself after divorce. But today we are going to talk about how about those who doesn't want to get divorced and want to try to make the marriage work, make the relationship work, which is, I think that's a good thing, right? But how can she understand that rocking relationship and how can she find herself in it?
Yeah. It's such a great question because I'm going to hit people with stats really quick. So first marriages, 50% end in divorce. And that's pretty bleak right there, right? But second marriages, 65% end in divorce. And third marriages, 75% end in divorce. So what is the problem?
Yeah, why is that?
Yeah, exactly. Because what we think is when we're having trouble with one person, now I do have to put a disclaimer here, unless somebody's in an abusive relationship, okay? We're not talking about those relationships today, right? We're talking about the ones that are savable, meaning you have the differences, you're frustrated, you've been together a long time, and you feel like you can't just make this work. I'm also talking about marriages that have had extreme conflict, infidelity, extreme things. They can still work. So the reason that the divorce rate keeps going up as you go from partner to partner is because who's the common denominator?
You.
Yeah, right? And here's the thing, unless we do the work that I do with clients, the work that we do on ourselves, we keep choosing similar partners even when we think that we don't. And what I mean by that too is we actually don't change anything about us. So we're bringing our issues to the table every time. Every time we're facing that same mirror, and when that partner, all of a sudden we're like, oh my God, I chose the same partner. Well, did you really? No, it's still you, right? Does that make sense?
It is. It makes total sense. And it's funny because, again, I'm in that process right now too, in terms of divorcing.
Yeah.
And you really open up the perspective that if you don't change, it's going to end up the same, and it's going to end up, it doesn't matter 5-time marriage or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So how can we work on that? Like, how can we really work on ourselves when very challenging that our partner says something that very annoying or, frustrate you, something like that? How can we just I'm going to work on myself?
Okay, so I'm going to give you a simple example, and it's going to feel a bit uncomfortable at first because it's not what we do, okay? And so you have to kind of go with me here, but I'm going to give an example. So I live in a new apartment building, and outside of my door to the side one day, there was a great big package. And it's not addressed to me, it's addressed to the previous tenant of this apartment. So it's not mine, okay? And I told the landlord here about it, and she said, okay, we'll contact them and we'll see if we can get them to come pick it up. Well, another package has arrived. So 2 packages for the old tenant are next to my door. And it's been about 2 weeks. And so she had told me, she said, just push them aside. And so I moved them probably 3 feet from my door not in anybody's way, but about 3 feet. Well, they've been sitting there and sitting there and sitting there. And then the other day, I opened my front door to go out, and the boxes were right there. I almost tripped over them.
Oh my
So someone had pushed them right in front of my door, okay? Stick with me.
Okay.
My initial reaction was I felt very irritated.
Yeah.
Because I almost tripped over these boxes, for one thing. They're not my boxes.
Right.
Why should I have to move them?
Right.
Who put these here? Like, all of the things, and the tone of the thoughts in my head was matching that I just expressed, right? Not pleasant.
Yes.
So I thought about it for a moment, and I thought, what if another resident got off the elevator, and they've been seeing these boxes by the elevator for almost 2 weeks, and they actually read the apartment number. They don't know who I am yet. And they thought, I'll just push these over here for her. Maybe she hasn't seen them yet. Now, how am I, think about this for a minute. How am I going to feel if I think that way, the second way, somebody's being helpful, right? Versus somebody's like shoving these boxes that aren't even mine in front of my door and causing me to have to move these boxes. Do you see the difference? Oh, somebody must have thought these were mine. They were trying to be kind. Now, here's the trick. I don't know the answer to what the true story is there, but which one made me feel better?
The second one, the one that your neighbor helping you. Yeah.
Yes, and a key word that we use a lot of times in marriages and all of our relationships really is not my favorite word. It's my least favorite word. It's should. Right? So whoever moved those boxes shouldn't have pushed them in front of my door. Well, I don't know what that person was really thinking because I never got to talk to them. We do this in marriage. We do this over silly things that add up over time that cause resentment and break up marriages for silly, silly things that turn into big things. So
we don't see it because we don't see it. We just like a guinea pig, right? Just running around in circles.
Yes, and we have expectations of what the other person, here's my least favorite word, should be doing or saying, and they don't meet our expectations. And so we get disappointed. And then someone else in the world, when we move on from our relationship or whatever, is nice to us in a way that our spouse isn't. And we start to think there's something better out there. And there's not. We have to adjust our expectations. So here's the answer to your question. We have to adjust and know that our spouse and ourselves, we see things through different lenses.
Right.
Okay? So I have a group, a Facebook group that I work with and get clients from. And I put up a picture of this cute little turtle, sea turtle, this tiny sea turtle.
Yes.
In this beautiful turquoise water. And he looks like he's swimming up. And when I looked at the picture, I felt such joy, and I felt like I want to be in that water with that turtle, and I want to be at that beach, and I felt the whole experience. I did a test, and I put that picture up in my Facebook group, and I said, what do you feel or experience when you see this picture? And people started commenting, and it was awesome because some people were like, I'm drowning. Some people were like, I just got to keep my head above water. Some people were like, I'm on a vacation. This is so relaxing. I want to be at the beach. So I had positive and negative, right?
Exactly.
But everyone saw a turtle. So we are all looking through our own lenses, through our own life experience at that picture of that turtle, and we both see something differently.
You know, I always, when I interview a lot of experts, I always say, man, they should teach this at school.
Yeah.
You know, like how can we understand another human being that we look into different lenses, right? Otherwise, maybe the number of divorce, instead of 50, it can be 30 or 20.
Yeah. And the number one thing is, and this has been studied, and I can't quote you from where right now because I wasn't prepped that way before the interview, but do you have any idea what the number one reason is for divorce? Can you guess?
Money?
It's not, actually. That is a leading contender, but it's respect. It's respect. People don't feel respected. It's the number one reason for divorce.
Wow.
Financial issues are big. That's huge because people fight over that. But ultimately, it comes down to respect. And I know in my own personal experience through my marriage, so my marriage did end in divorce. I see that very clearly, the respect issue. In hindsight, for both of us, I can see it.
Wow.
And yeah.
Well, as I look back in my life or so, I think that is it, right?
Yeah. And so you can disagree with someone. You can have conflict in your life, in your marriage, and you can still respect them. The problem comes in, this is a big answer to your question, but this is so good for your listeners. So the problem comes when I express a certain idea or a want or a need, and my partner doesn't see it that way. My spouse doesn't see it that way, right?
Yeah.
And I am determined to make them see it that way. But remember, when we're looking at the turtle picture, we have different lenses on. So what am I trying to do to that person? I'm trying to change them. And we all know we can't change them. We can't.
So that's going to lead to my next question. So what do we do? We cannot change them. What do we do? But we want them to give us what we want.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. We need to take a deep breath for one thing, and we need to listen a lot. You need to listen a lot. So what I can tell you what I did wrong in my marriage, for an example. So typically what happens is one person is going to be more of a domineering personality. That was me. And my ex was quiet and more try to keep the peace.
Yeah.
So though it doesn't work, trying to keep the peace doesn't work because that person eventually is going to blow, right? And me trying to get what I needed out of him didn't work. It just made him shut down further. So what we can do is we can ask really good questions. So a really good communication technique is to continually ask questions instead of, and so this is a question like, a common one. It's so silly, but the toilet seat thing, why didn't you put the toilet seat down? Not questions like that. We don't want to ask questions like that. Like if someone says something to you that feels offensive or abrupt or rude, you can say, "Oh, why would you say that to me? Can you tell me more about that? I really want to understand." Calm and confident, right? You just calm and confident. That could go so many different ways. Like if I say something to offend you, initially we're like that, right? And we react and then we spout something off and then we never get to the real issue or the real answer.
Just the beginning issue, the beginning question, we already argue, right?
Yeah.
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 Respect is number one reason. So what is the, I know you have your Facebook group. Is it for everyone? Is it for just women or for men as well?
Right now, the group is specifically for women. And I did that for, the reason of I wanted people just to feel safe and not,
right.
Yeah, I didn't want to mix, but I would work with men too. Like it doesn't matter to me in a private setting, but that group is specifically for women. Yeah.
And what's the name of the group? How can my audience join, if they want to?
So they can, in Facebook, it's Freedom, Happiness, and Power.
Okay.
They just type that in and they should see my face pop up. And my website is just my name, tiffanyreneker.com. So they can find me there too. And there's some good information in the group. I go live in the group, so I do some, short videos and stuff throughout the week that are tidbits like this, like the turtle. I put that picture up and then I talked about it later in the group, and it's really helpful.
Wow, I thank you so much for creating this space, because I feel like in the time like this, many years ago, we don't have this Facebook group system, and women have to deal with it alone or not educated enough a lot, and it's
Yeah.
very visible. But now, you presenting this, you creating your community. I think this is very, very powerful. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. It's great. Yeah.
So what is the exciting new project that you're working on right now?
Oh boy. So I'm doing a lot of things, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build more clientele up in the realm of, okay, I started with divorced women and moving into helping divorced women and women that are in those rocky relationships, right? And I ultimately want to get to the place, Nim, where I'm teaching people how to be happy. And I know that sounds so cliche, but what I have found with working with divorced women is nobody knows how to be happy. There are people, clients, it's so interesting, that have had people say to them after they get done with the work that we do, you look so much happier than you did even when you were still married, and these were women that wanted to save their marriage primarily. So that's very telling. And I have people say to me, I feel like I'm actually living for the first time.
Wow.
And it's super important. It's so much more than just getting over or through a divorce. I mean, fixing your marriage is a very amazing thing. And I'm all for that always.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't work out for some people, then obviously we're going to do some more work in a different direction, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of the same. And ultimately, to answer your question, I want to help people be happy again. And to me, when I look around the world, nobody knows how to do it.
Yeah.
Everyone is either drinking, gambling, shopping, exercising to death, looking outside.
Right.
And it's more simple than we think. We didn't learn it in school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for bringing all the new perspective, the new lenses, that we can see. And I love when you say, listen more, right?
Yeah. Listen more, and the number one takeaway today would be, well, there's two. If you're in a marriage and you feel like, I want to try and save this, work on yourself big time. Take the focus inward instead of what they're doing. Just put what they're doing aside. Put it on a shelf for a while. You can always come back if you feel like you need to revisit that, but work on yourself, right? And then those times when you do have a conflict, take the breath, breathe, don't respond, don't send the text right away. Take the time, ask the questions. I wonder what that person's really thinking, what they're really trying to express here. Because it's usually never what comes out the mouth.
Awesome advice. It's not easy to do for sure, but it's very, very important to do. Well,
Yeah.
Tiffany, thank you so much for today, for coming to our show and be our special guest today. Looking forward to sharing your message to many more women who's out there, guys. Seek out Tiffany Reneker.
Yes.
Work with her and join the community. Join the Facebook group. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Yes, take care.